Jackie Sandberg, please report to the piano. Jackie Sandberg to the piano.
Good morning. Good to be here. For those of you who are here, please stand and join me for May Nothing Evil Cross This Door number 1 in your hymnal. May nothing evil cross this door, and may ill fortune never pry about these windows. May the roar and rain go by. By faith made strong, the rafters will withstand the battering of the storm. This heart through all the world grow chill will keep you warm.
Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spokane, where we join together to create a nourishing, liberal religious home and to champion justice, diversity, and environmental stewardship in our wider world, or as we like to say in short, to create community, find meaning, and live justly. We want to begin as usual. I say usual because we didn't begin this way at the first service. There was a lot of chaos going on. So rather than saying we begin as always, I'll say usual, by welcoming each and every one of you to this space, all that you bring with you, all of your unique beliefs and background and lifestyle and experiences and differences and all that helps make you who you are is welcome here this morning. We're so glad to have all of you, and this includes those of you who are in the room with us this morning, as well as those who might be joining us via our live stream today. It's also great to have all of you with us too. So, and this includes, of course, those who might be joining us very recently or even for the first time today. Glad to have all of you. I do have a few announcements to make, one of which is to welcome Madeline McNeil. Madeline McNeil, our beloved music director for a year, who has moved on to other things, but I didn't feel that we got good closure because I was away on her last Sunday and asked if she would mind coming back in the near future, which is now, to give us an opportunity to give a proper thank you and a proper goodbye. So and a proper best wishes and let's stay in touch, all that stuff, right? So we're having a potluck service. As many of you know, everybody's welcome to stay after our service. And I want you, before you start filling your plate, to be sure and look at the 2 cakes back there before we have time to cut into them, because there's one that says, "Thank you, Madeline." And it's a pretty cake, I have to say. I was responsible for getting that one and bringing it. It's a very nice cake. Thank you. Unfortunately, The social activities team was responsible for getting the new member welcome cake. And Madeline, it puts yours to shame. I'm so sorry. It is an extraordinarily beautiful cake. You're not going to be able to have your cake and eat it too, so be sure and look at that cake, both of those cakes, before you start eating. It's on the table back there in the back, so you can't miss it on your way through the buffet line. Also, speaking of the potluck, it would be helpful if those of you who brought dishes would take home whatever dishes that you brought if you can, and leftovers as well. Otherwise, they'll probably just end up getting tossed out or something like that, so we would appreciate that. I think there was probably something else I was supposed to say about that. I can't remember. But I do want to thank the social activities team who've been so helpful in organizing these monthly potlucks now that are happening the third Sunday of each month. And if you don't know, those folks include Lanny Prell. Where's Lanny at? Probably in the kitchen. So she's back there helping. And then Michelle Atwood, are you back there in the kitchen too? Well, there's Michelle back there getting tables ready. And there's Lynn Diddens back there, who also has been very helpful and helped get that beautiful cake that you just have to see. So please thank the team for helping to give us opportunities to fellowship together in person more than we've been able to since COVID. Really appreciate that. Speaking of which, our pastoral care team is sponsoring an in-person support group. So for those of you who've forgotten how to be with people in person, there is a support group for that. Now, no, I'm kidding. This support group is actually has the purpose of having people have conversation together, sharing ideas, deepening connections. And it's getting started today, and there will be a table back there that actually says support group on one of the potluck tables. So if you're interested in participating in that conversation, it'll be right back on that side of the room. Thanks, Tom. Okay, and then a final announcement, at least as far as the ones I can remember. I will not be seeing you guys for a few weeks. I usually take February off and enjoy a cold, frozen sabbatical. I don't know why, but that's my time of year. The cold and the dark. But actually, I will not be here next Sunday either. That's our Requiem service, which is a lay-led service. So I do hope you'll come for that. That's a time where we honor the memories of many of our members who have, or I shouldn't say our members who have passed during the year, and there have been many of them, sadly. We've lost a lot of great folks, and this is an opportunity to honor and celebrate their lives and what they've meant to us. And then the first Sunday of March will be our annual Partner Church Sunday. So 6 Sundays off in a row. I have not had that many Sundays off since I've been here in 14 years. It's phenomenal. I don't even know what I'll do. But anyway, I will look forward to seeing you. The team, our guest speakers team has put together some incredible speakers and services for those Sundays. I hope you will come and enjoy and also show your appreciation for the good work this team does in trying to make sure that we have quality of services that we're used to. So yeah, I'll be out of pocket for a few weeks. We'll look forward to seeing you when I get back, perhaps a changed man, you never know. Now, before we move forward with our chalice lighting, you'll notice there's some beautiful flower arrangements up here. The roses are for our new member welcome service, this ceremony that we'll have in a little bit. But on behalf of the congregation, the flowers that are sitting right here in the front of the church are our gift of appreciation for the beauty that Madeline has brought to our church and to our lives. So, Madeline.
Say a few words if you want. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be back. The being here was very nurturing to me. I came to this job, I came to the church to talk to Todd about things that he talks to us about, and I was in a lot of distress. I came here asking him to help me make sense of things, and it happened that the music director job was just open. So I stepped in as song leader and then music director, but during that entire time, I was healing from things that I had been going through with my relationships, with my community, and was in a lot of confusion. So this gave me the space to breathe again, to be able to think my thoughts, to make sense of things. It gave me financial stability. And in the last month when I stepped out, it was to do my art again, which I am doing. And I just did a sold-out show on Friday at the Hamilton Studio. I have other projects planned. So I'm still here. I'm still around. I'm excited about doing projects. But I just want to express my gratitude for all of you for nourishing me during this last year and a half. So thank you.
Thank you. And with that said, let's forego our usual greeting of one another so that we can move forward by lighting our chalice. I think this is a good time to do it. Thank you again, Madeline. The chalice is the symbol of our unity and our solidarity, of our openness and our inclusion, of our community and our individual uniqueness. May this small flame be our offering of warmth to those who are cold and alone, and a light to those in darkness. May it be a flame that ignites justice in our world and a beacon of hope to those in need, and may it reflect at least a spark of truth wherever truth has been lost, and cast a healthy shadow of doubt wherever it's been found. And while you're working your way up here, I do remember one more announcement that someone asked me to make regarding the potluck. We do need some help from volunteers to do various things like put away tables, and I can't remember, Lanny named a couple of things, but for those of you who can stick around and help with that, that'd be great. And if, by the way, if you didn't know it was a potluck, please stay around and be our guest. And if you really want to, you can help put away some chairs or tables or something afterwards.
As we meet this morning, we'll be asking Reverend Eklof to respond to the questions that are on our minds as we start a new year. By doing this is an exercise in a value that's not universally practiced in our society. In my career as a journalist, I was struck by how passive and the dogmatic. Perhaps among them are some of the 93 million people, eligible voters, who failed to cast a ballot in our most recent presidential election. Honing good questions takes practice. For me, this practice first came in college when a group of Stanford students were asked to debate a group of communist students at Humboldt University in East Berlin on the meaning of freedom. Our leading question: if your theory of politics is so superior to ours, why do you have to erect a wall to keep your people inside East Germany? When I worked 2 years later in Congress, my first assignment was to question Black Mississippi sharecroppers about their terrifying experiences of being threatened when they tried to vote. This was in preparation for hearings on the 1965 Voting Rights Act, which passed that year after the sharecroppers testified. As I matured, my questions got better. For instance, the premise for my work investigating Hanford's radiation releases was initially based on a question: why, in the mid-1980s, were documents related to Hanford's history of radiation contamination while making plutonium for nuclear bombs still classified over 40 years after those bombs were used at the end of World War II? The documents we obtained gave the answer. The government feared that the public would no longer support nuclear weapons production if they knew the truth about the health damage to the weapon sites had caused to workers and civilians alike. Unitarians, both pastors and church members, were instrumental in the battles for civil rights and nuclear accountability. We are now called on to look inside our religion and question how current UUA leadership is threatening liberal religious values with its covenantal orders and active discouragement of questions. As Mark Twain wrote, "Loyalty to petrified opinion never yet broke a chain or freed a human soul." Our questions continue.
Please stand. We're going to sing I've Got Peace Like a River, number 100. I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain in my soul.
We are now going to kindle our candles of care for those who are most on our hearts and minds. And we're going to begin today with a candle for Catherine and Fred Lawrenceston. Catherine had a major stroke last weekend and has been in hospice house ever since. She's not expected to live. So please keep her and Fred and their entire family in your thoughts at this time. Also want to kindle a candle for Gordon and Lynn Diddens, whose 39-year-old niece, Tabitha, who suffered from addiction, died quite unexpectedly this past week. So we're thinking of you guys as well. And as we have been, kindle a candle on behalf of the people of Ukraine and Russia and that region of the world who are suffering from the violence and war there, as well as the people of Israel and the Palestinian people in that region of the world that are suffering from the war and violence there. And also we'll kindle a candle on behalf of the thousands of victims of the terrible fires that have been going on in California these past weeks. Let's take a moment of silence, as always, on behalf of others that you might be thinking of, and you're welcome to name them aloud at this time if you'd like. Those named aloud and those embraced in our silence, and all those who are suffering in our world at this hour, we hold in our community with compassion. I should say before we go on to our special collection that everything in your order of service is correct except the order of service. Okay, so by which I mean the announcements are okay, the front cover's okay, although Tom, we took away 3 letters of your last name. I hope you don't mind. We were running low on funds this weekend, so we had to cut some things in half. But the order of service is printed as last week's. I don't know how that happened or why, so I apologize. But if you're expecting last week's service again, it's not going to happen. But it's right up there, so we've got our act together. This is our third Sunday, and we usually have a special collection on behalf of an organization that we are in alignment with and want to support. And our special collection today is for Books to Prisoners Spokane. Books for Prisoners Spokane is a small collective of people with a mission to foster a love of reading from behind bars, to encourage the pursuit of knowledge and self-empowerment, and to break the cycle of recidivism. It does so by mailing used and donated books for free to prisoners upon their request. And during a guest presentation, talk about having excellent presentations when I'm not around, right here in our church last month, members of this collective shared real stories about how Books for Prisoners is impacting lives, including, for example, a message from one prisoner serving a life sentence who wrote, "I didn't just live for the prison library, I lived because of the prison library. Books saved me from crushing despair and lifted my spirit in times of hardship." Books to Prisoners, which houses their books here in our own building, relies on donations from the community to do its work. And if this ministry speaks to you, please use the special collection envelope that hopefully you found in your order of service so that we will know what it's for. There's no need to seal that, as usual. We'll recycle the envelope if possible. But again, always appreciate your generosity. I'm sure this is a cause many of you will want to support. So we now gratefully give and receive this morning's offering, which helps sustain this community and, as we always say, our mission to the larger world.
Stone, oh, the buffalo free, oh, my brother the wolf, my lover the moon, oh, the little one, oh, the joy that I feel, oh, the love in my heart, a wilderness song. Sister the sea, oh, the ocean shore, oh, the castles of stone, oh, the mountain top calling to me. Mystery, oh, the dreaming of dreams, oh, my brother, my own, my sister, my own, oh, the tenderness, oh, the longing for love, oh, the beautiful way, the sweet coming home.
Wow, oh my God. Listen, I'm a huge John Denver fan, as many of you know, and that is now the third time that I got to hear Madeline perform that song. Once was for the North American Unitarian Association's Summit. And that means I actually got to hear it 6 times. And I'm never tired of it. I think that if, as I said during the first service, if John Denver, because John Denver never got to record that song. It was his last song. He wrote it while he was filming a National Geographic program about his favorite places, including Yellowstone, and he was writing these stanzas and just playing them on his guitar. And I remember one scene, he's like, "Oh, that's all I got so far," you know. So he never. He filmed that, and 3 months later he died in the plane crash. So he never got to professionally record that. And he was trying to create a song that was the voice of a wolf, obviously. And I think if he were here, he would agree. He would say, "I'm not going to record that because it was made for Madeline." Right? Madeline sings that song better than he could have sung it, and you bring the feeling of that wolf in your voice, and I'm just admire it so much. I want you to do a CD or whatever you call them now, I don't know, that has 12 tracks on it called Yellowstone, and every one of them is the same song. And then maybe after a few months I will get tired of it. But anyway, thank you. You deserve that ovation. That was just so beautiful. In lieu of our usual time for all ages, we are actually going to have our new member welcome ceremony. Would you mind grabbing the microphone from Todd on your way down? Oh, you've got it right there. There we go. And we'll give it back to you for the other session later. Thank you. So we are having a new member welcome. And I'm going to invite, and I'll come down here in just a second, but I'll invite the new members that might be here when you hear your names to please come forward for the ceremony. We have Matthew and Michaela Cox, and you remember them because of their magnificent son, Maxon, who we got to welcome officially during a child dedication ceremony recently. Amy Mars, I think, is here as well. If Amy wants to come forward. Some names I know won't be here who are distance members at this point. There's Amy and John Miller, who lives in Florida. Dan Ritz, who was coming for a while, but he moved out of country, but he's still a member. And I think he's visiting Eastern Europe, and he's even going to try to go see our congregation in Felșiracos, Romania. So we're thinking of him. Pat and Ron Schaefer, who are currently in North Carolina. They were online for the first service. I don't know, are Jeremiah and Maggie Wicken here? I don't think they're here this afternoon. Their kids are Jude and Meredith. And then just today, Donna Brown came in, who's been, I don't know how many years now Donna's been here, but hadn't signed our membership book. So, Donna, please come forward. There she is. So we have some folks we can welcome in person, and some that are distance members, and some that are absent, but they're all equal. We embrace their membership with equal enthusiasm. So I'm going to make my way down here with
We are honored that you have chosen to become members of our church, having found a connection with the Unitarian Universalism and expressed your commitment to this community. Membership at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spokane is both a privilege and a responsibility. It's a place we hope you will feel safe to explore your own path, yet feel a sense of belonging and support. We look forward to our work together in fulfilling our mission of our church and to the many gifts and support that you bring to us.
You have signed our membership book, it says or may do so after the service. I should have crossed that out because it keeps confusing me. You've already done so. And this is one of the fundamental symbols of your place among us. And as we now welcome you all individually, we seal this covenant with a rose, symbolizing our hope that you will fully bloom in your new church community. Yeah, why don't you, if you pass them in.
Hi, I'm Michaela Cox. We've been coming since January of last year. And thank you, everybody who has welcomed us and been nice. And it's nice to be here.
I am Matthew Cox, and again, thank you for everybody, and thank you for your support through this last year.
Morning, I'm Amy Mars, and this is my daughter, Brinley Mars.
Hello.
We're delighted to be part of this lovely community and excited to offer our gifts as well. Thank you.
My name's Donna Brown, and does that sound all right? Okay. Okay. My name is Donna Brown. I thank you very much for having me be a member. I love it here, and I'm glad I'm a member.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. And here is your rose. We're going to keep the other roses up here as a symbol of those who are also new members that have not been able to join us for our official ceremony today. And then, let's see, did I give you that sheet of paper? Oh. You need one more of those. So, you guys just read loud and hopefully we'll hear you.
We embrace membership in this church as both a gift and a commitment. May our strands of connection grow ever stronger day by day and year by year as we join with you in creating a nourishing community and a more just world.
Thank you all so much. Now, before you sit down, I'm going to ask the congregation to turn to number 442 in the back of your gray hymnal. Responsive reading number 442. And this is our congregational response and way of welcoming you to your new church home. So I will begin and ask the congregation to be our respondents. And actually, do you mind reading from the mic so folks who are live streaming with us can hear the entire reading? Thank you, Madeline. We bid you welcome who come with weary spirit seeking rest.
Who come with troubles that are too much with you, who come hurt and afraid.
We bid you welcome who come with hope in your heart.
Who come with anticipation in your step, who come proud and joyous.
We bid you welcome who are seekers of a new faith.
Who come to probe and explore, who come to learn.
We bid you welcome who enter this hall as a homecoming.
Who have found here room for your spirit, who find in this people a family.
Whoever you are, whatever you are, wherever you are on your journey, we bid you welcome. You may now take your place among us.
As we enter into meditation, I invite you to get comfortable. Excuse me. Oh, the children. I'm so sorry. Yes, we have to sing our children out. We have multiple children here today. Thank you.
My fault.
That's okay. No problem.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere.
Now we will enter into meditation. I invite you to get comfortable, breathe deeply, and consider these words from President Barack Obama. Change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek.
I'm going to sing Country Roads by John Denver. If you know the words, you're welcome to sing with me on the chorus. Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is older, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, growing like a breeze. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home. Country roads, all my memories gather round her. Miner's lady, stranger to blue water, dark and dusty, painted on the sky. Misty taste of moonshine, teardrop in my eye. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home. Country roads, I hear her voice in the morning hour. She calls me. The radio reminds me of my home far away. And driving down the road, I get a feeling that I should be been home yesterday. Yesterday, country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home. Country roads, oh, country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home. Country roads, take me home. Country roads, oh, take me home. Country roads.
Oh, wow. Another beautiful rendition. Thank you so much. This is something I do occasionally, conversations with Todd, where I open the floor up to questions that you might have been wondering about regarding things I've said or maybe things I haven't said. I do like to kind of restrict it to the sort of topics we might discuss on a Sunday. I don't want to get into church business matters at this meeting, that we can save those for church business meetings. And also ask that you try to, keep your questions relatively brief so that I can actually have time to get to as many as there might be, and do try to ask a question, if you will, too, even if you need to take a couple of minutes to explain the origins of that question. So I'd appreciate it. So just indicate by raising your hand, and if we'll bring a microphone to you. And Shane had his hand up first, and then we'll bring one up here to Lynn afterwards.
This week, David Lynch passed away, which was very sad for me, director of Twin Peaks and The Elephant Man and Blue Velvet and many others. And I don't know if he meant a lot to you, but it is kind of making me in a film frame of mind, and I know you're a little bit of a film buff, and so I'd be curious if you could talk about maybe one or two of your favorite movies, one or two things that you've seen recently that you really liked, and what role film has played. What do you like about it? What intrigues you about it? What's it done for you?
Yeah, thank you. I would say that I've not been a huge David Lynch fan. I've not been, disliked him by any means. My favorite of his was The Elephant Man. I mean, what a heart-wrenching and moving film that was. So that was as far as those go. I have to say I don't have a lot of depth when it comes to movies. I spend more time on nonfiction, world interest stuff, reading. And so for me, film is an opportunity to get to sort of just move into a simpler, mindless phase. So I would much rather watch a vampire sucking blood, or Liam Neeson going after the bad guys, than I would watching movies that are meaningful. In fact, a lot of times I resist the movies that are most meaningful because they require you to watch a lot of pain and injustice that people experience. And that stuff really gets to me, so I would rather see somebody get justice. I will find you, and I will kill you. But my absolute favorite movie of all time is Gandhi. That came out when I was 14 years old, before I was a deep thinker about anything. And to me, it's just the perfect movie. I mean, it won multiple Academy Awards, including Best Actor and Best Picture and Best Director and all that. But that movie was transformative, for one, because it introduced me to Gandhi, and it introduced me to his ideas about how we should live together in a world. And I found it just beautiful. The acting was stupendous, the cinematography was stupendous, the sets were stupendous, the story was stupendous, the costumes, I mean, just everything about it was really incredible. And I find that was really important to me. It was actually a Unitarian, I'm forgetting his name right now, back in the early 20th century, Unitarian minister who introduced Gandhi to the Western world. That's how Gandhi, the plight of Gandhi, became something that we began to care about on this side of the planet. So his values have long been connected with liberal religion. So that was a very moving film for me. There's been some others, but one I would mention is the film The Exorcist. Now this is very opposite of Gandhi, obviously, and it still terrifies me. I mean, I won't watch it. I saw it when I was 8 years old when it came out. Terrible. My parents were terribly irresponsible people. They used to have these things called drive-ins. And you'd get in a car, and the kids would all hide under blankets, and the parents would drive in, and they'd show these movies on these big screens. And so that's what The Exorcist was playing on, and I watched that movie like this the whole time. Scared the hell out of me. But as I got older, I tried to understand why that was so terrifying. One, because I was 8 years old, so it was traumatic, right? So I went back and watched it as an adult one time. And I realized, oh my gosh, if you look at this little girl who is being, they claim she's possessed, all she's doing is what kids do, albeit in exaggerated form, right? She urinates when she feels like urinating. She talks back when she's not supposed to talk back. She spits out her split pea soup. What kid doesn't want to do that? Right? She doesn't want you to ram religion down her throat. I mean, all these things that kids are forced on kids. And so as children, we are taught to be afraid of ourselves. That's what the word demon actually means. It's your daemon. It's your original self. It's your truth. There's a book series about this now, The Golden Compass, about the cutting out your daemon. And it leaves you lifeless and soulless. And that's what we are. We've been told that the thing that is most special about us is the devil. And it's bad. And I just found that to be a profoundly moving message for me. And it has motivated many of my sermons and how I speak and how I engage with people in the world. Many years ago, it had its 25th anniversary. And it was playing at one of the biggest theaters in Louisville. These were also places you could go to watch movies. It had these big screens that they would project things onto. I don't know if any of you have gone to those lately. And I took the afternoon off at work, and I went to watch it. I said, I've got to get over this thing. I've got to go watch this. And I went into this theater, and there was nobody in it. Nobody. And I said, all right, I'm going to walk down to the center of this damn thing. I didn't even stay in the aisle. I went right down to the middle seat in that big theater. And I watched that movie again. Of course, there's sounds all over. It was really, really freaky. But I had a really profound dream that night. I think I was in a high school or something, and there was this little girl, with her demonic face and everything, and she was just everybody was terrified of her. And I went and sat down and had lunch with her, and we were able to embrace each other, and I was able to embrace her humanity. And I've had a lot of dreams like that whenever I do watch The Exorcist, these really profound symbols of me connecting with something that has been shunned within me. So I consider both of those movies to be perhaps the most profound movies that I've watched in my life. So thank you. Good question. And then Lynn had a question up here, so thank you.
Am I allowed to ask two?
Well, go ahead, ask two, and I don't have to answer them both.
Well,
but
first one is easy. What is your favorite thing to do when you have free time?
What's my favorite thing? I watch Liam Neeson movies.
Okay. I thought that might be your answer.
No, my favorite.
What do you do?
These days, one of my favorite. So I mean, there's a lot of things I do. I don't have a lot of free time to do them, but I have various interests. One, I am absolutely head over heels in love with my dog, Wiley. I've never had a bond with an animal. I mean, a lot of dogs we've loved, but I mean, this guy and I are like, there's some connection between us that's here right now, So I love to spend time with him. It's been hard this winter because it's too cold to take him for his long walks, and he doesn't understand when he looks at his leash, and I say, no, we can't do that. But I love to take him for long walks, and I have recently have taken up something called Krav Maga, which is a type of self-defense system, but it requires a lot of physical exercise, push-ups and sit-ups and squats, and I went a few weeks ago, and I couldn't go back for a week because every muscle in my body was sore. So that's really why I did it, but it's based on Israeli fighting. It's really close combat, is what those words mean. So it's techniques you would learn to defend yourself, if you were confronted physically by some aggressor. And oddly enough, I found it really enjoyable. I did Aikido many years ago, and I found the philosophy of that really, really neat. But I wanted something that was going to require me at 60 years old to exert myself, and I didn't want to go to aerobics. So, but it's been really fun. It'll be a year in February that I started doing that, and there's no real philosophy to it. It's just defense and exercise. Stay in shape, be prepared. But the thing that I really love that I don't get much time for is producing 360-degree videos. And I have taken some courses on virtual reality software, just creating virtual environments too. So I'm working on a big project with that. But I've produced 3 360 videos that you can find on YouTube. One is about the time that Peggy and I saved our year of trash. We saved all of our garbage for a year from Earth Day to Earth Day. And I just couldn't imagine really getting rid of it. It got a little bit of press here in town, but I didn't want it to go away without somehow preserving what just 2 people can produce in a year. And what better way to preserve that than a 360 environment where you can actually stand in front of that garbage and see what it looks like. So I did a whole story on saving it, but then what happens to it when I do throw it away. So that's on there. And then we had... Then I did one last year just on this cemetery down here, the Greenwood Memorial Terrace, and it has these haunted steps. One thing I really dislike about 360-degree videos, I'm an old video producer, by the way. I had a career as a video producer. And so when people make these 360-degree videos, they try to make them like you would an actual video production. They put music soundtracks behind them, and they try to do all this stuff. Well, the point of 360 is to put you in that place, right? That's its sole purpose, to take you from this place and put you in another place as if you're there. So we don't hear music when we go outside, right? We don't hear music when we go to places unless it's part of the natural environment. So I wanted to find a real visceral experience, and I found out there's this old staircase that's supposed to be haunted that goes up the back of that cemetery. So I said, well, what would happen if I put people on those steps in a 360 environment? And actually, Shane went with me because I was too scared to go by myself at night. And so it's kind of a dark setting. You're really just there, and you hear some coyotes. But I also talk about the incredible history of that cemetery and the people, some of the famous people that are buried there. It's a remarkable cemetery. So I loved putting that together, and that's also online. So you can find those on there. Anyway, I love that, and I'm hoping to do more with Spokane. I really love this city, and I'd love to be able to help people who aren't here come here through this technology. So those are some hobbies. Yeah. Jerry's got a question right behind you there.
Well, this is a little more challenging, I think, of a question, but the question is...
It's not math, is it?
No.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Do you find commonalities between, say, Christian mysticism, Buddhism, and, let's say, Hindu mysticism, which is called Vedanta?
Mm-hmm. Well... I mean, I have an affection for apophatic mysticism, which is the type of mysticism that tries to get at truth by getting rid of beliefs, right? So rather than accumulating knowledge and truth, the idea is that you're like a stone carver. You chip away at what you think you know, and you come more to the truth. And all mystical traditions have an apophatic approach to mysticism, including Buddhism and Hinduism and Christianity. I would say that the mystics that as far as world religions go, I'm more. I find more interest in the non-Western religions, some of those that you mentioned. But when it comes to mysticism, I prefer the Christian mystics. Now, I read a great book years ago. I can't even remember the title of it, but it was written by a Westerner who went to study in a Buddhist monastery. And he tells this wonderful story of these Christian priests and Christian monks or mystics who came to visit with the Buddhist priest and the Buddhist monks. And the entire time, the Christian priest and the Buddhist priest argued with each other. They could not comprehend what one another was talking about or didn't agree. And the Buddhist monks and the Christian monks just sat together in peace because they had the same experience. They knew exactly where one another was coming from. But the Christian mystics, like Meister Eckhart, for example, who would say, what does God do all day? God gives birth, or God is absolute nothing. These sort of sayings to me get at the heart of what should be important about religion. Karen started off with this wonderful reading about having the questions, and that's really what mysticism is about, and I think it is also the heart of what Unitarianism is supposed to be about. In fact, one of the first sermons I ever gave was, I think, first and foremost, I think you might have given that sermon one time. Yeah, Gordon, when I was absent, it was the first sermon I gave here. And it gets at that point that the fundamental thing about us is that we question ourselves, we question what others tell us, we question everything, and we're chipping away at the truth in order to have a higher understanding. So yeah, I think there's a real connection between my liberal religion and mysticism. I would again restrict my interest, though, to the apophatic style of mysticism, which has to do with letting go of what we think we know, rather than trying to accumulate knowledge or to just say, here is the approach to the world, because there is forms of mysticism where people think they have a particular way of looking at the world that is mystical, and that is actually the answer that we all need. And when it gets to that level, I don't have much interest in it. It's boring. As a philosopher, you can always poke holes in just about anything someone thinks is true. But you can't really poke holes in people that are getting rid of truths in order to seek the truth. So, yes, please.
Allow me to first apologize for dropping my phone. Secondly, you have these special collections. Mm-hmm. What is the one that hits closest to home for you, and why?
Oh my gosh. Well, there's been so many, I probably couldn't name a lot of them. I will cheat, though. There is one that we do a couple times a year at least, and that is for my ministerial discretionary fund. This is a fund that a lot of ministers have because we are approached by people for help from time to time. And so this congregation has been incredibly generous in putting significant amounts of money in that fund so that I can help people out when they need help. And if you think about what people need help for, it's usually a fairly major expense, My God, we just had to have a water heater replaced, and it cost $3,000, Not for the water heater, just that's what installation and taxes and everything are at this point. So imagine if somebody is just late on their rent or their mortgage for a month. it's a significant amount of money. So you need a significant amount of money to help people out, right? Somebody comes to you and says, I need $1,000 to pay my mortgage this month, or to make, pay for a car repair or a water heater or whatever. You can't say, well, I'll give you $300. Right? It's a waste of $300. It doesn't do anyone any good. So, and that's why it's not just because I get to help people with that, but that it's significant enough to where I can. And that shows the generosity of this congregation to want to be able to make a difference in people's lives. And oftentimes those are for members of our own congregation, but a lot of times it's for people who walk in the door and say they need help. So to me, that's one of the most significant ones we do each year, and it touches me most because it is really, and I always joke about this, me expressing your generosity, right, to others, your kindness, your compassion to others. And it's discretionary because I can't really tell you who these people are, right? You just know that it's happening. Did you have a question? Yeah, right in front. If you'll hand the mic to, there we go.
Hi.
Hi.
I was just wondering how you came to find the Unitarian Universalists. Like, how did you end up preaching for this faith?
Yeah, so started off real quickly. I started off as a Southern Baptist. Actually, I was not in a church home growing up, but growing up in California as a teenager, I became part of the born-again Christian movement, which was big in the 70s. And the closest church to my house was a Southern Baptist. So it was all I knew at that time. A church was a church. So anyway, I became a Southern Baptist, really got into it. Spent 10 years as a Southern Baptist, which included me going to a Southern Baptist college and studying for the Baptist ministry and being ordained, and then leaving there and going to a Baptist seminary in Louisville, Kentucky, which I did not finish. But it's where Peggy and I met, and we got married there. Peggy was also a student at the Southern Baptist Seminary. Now in college, I had to take philosophy as part of my coursework, and that really began to open my mind and caused me to question everything. So by the time I got to Louisville, I was really done with Southern Baptist and Christianity for that matter, and needed to do something for a living. We got married about that time in '88, and then we were missing church. We missed the community. We missed people, and so I said, well, I'd heard about these Unitarians. They're supposedly they have no dogma or anything you have to believe, but the community's there. You want to give them a try. So that's really when we started going to the Unitarian Church in 1989. And then I guess, I started a period of really searching, trying to figure out myself and who I was and, the trauma of the past, all that stuff. Which was good, which was, very meaningful. I mean, to be able to say, why the hell am I so afraid of The Exorcist? I wouldn't even thought that as a young man, So to try to figure that stuff out. And about 10 years in, well, I met a retired Unitarian minister, actually probably shortly after it was the first day we went to the Unitarian Church. Yeah, Phil Smith, a retired Unitarian minister, was a guest speaker, and he spoke way over my head. I didn't understand anything he was talking about. But he was talking about the soul, and he was talking about it as if it were a present reality, which you don't get in the conservative Baptist faith. That's something for after you die. And just something was stirring in me. I was like, what is this? And I was very shy, but I forced myself to go up and talk to him afterwards. I kept turning around, and then I go back, very shy, and we ended up getting lunch that week, and we became very good friends. Peggy and I became very good friends of Phil and his wife Sharon. He really became a mentor, and he was speaking regularly at the Clifton Unitarian Church in Louisville. We were members at the First Unitarian Church, and then on occasions when our relationship got to the point where he was out of town, he'd ask me to do the things like lead his dream group, or because I was just kind of a student of his, and then to speak in his place. And then when he retired and left the state, the church asked me to be their speaker, and then they eventually asked me to be their minister, and that's how I re-entered into the ministry. So I was working bivocationally as a corporate video producer at that point. I was in TV news for a few years before that. And I was, content to sort of do this bivocational thing. And I was struggling to get ahead and all this kind of stuff in that chosen field. And nothing ever worked out for me. I got very good at it, but it just wasn't very lucrative for me for some reason. And at 35, I was like, wait a minute. Everything I do in this church thing keeps just unfolding for me. I'm not trying to get back into the ministry. I didn't aspire to be a Unitarian minister. These things just keep opening up, and I've got these two tracks in my life, one of which has been struggle and hardship and disappointment, and if I did achieve what I was hoping to achieve, it was disappointing when I got there, and there's other things very fulfilling, and I'm good at it, and it keeps happening. So I went that direction, and I was at Clifton Unitarian Church for about 12 years. For about 6 years of that, I was bivocational. 6 years in, I was fired from my job as a corporate video producer after taking a very public stand in favor of gay marriage. So I spent another 6 years just kind of making it on what the church could give me, and Peggy had started teaching. In fact, I got fired from my job, and her health insurance kicked in like 2 days after we lost ours. She'd gone back. She was a stay-home mom, but was working on her master's and went back to become a school teacher, which she's been doing ever since. And then after about 6 years, I was like, okay, I'm running out of home equity. I'm going to have to either get a bigger church or get a second job, and I don't want to get a second job. So we went into search, and that's how we ended up here in 2011. And so now I've been here even longer. I think I'm on 14 years? 14 years, yeah. So thank you. I'll take one more brief question. Oh, got one up here, and then we'll call it quits for tonight. So.
Hi, my name's Barbara.
Hi, Barbara.
Hi. How big was that trash?
How big was what?
How big was your year's worth of trash?
Oh, yeah. Well, it was pretty amazing. The stats are in the video, but it would have covered, I mean, it spills out. You can't just pile it up, but it would have covered at least half of this stage. Most of it was plastic, unfortunately. Some glass, some cans, and a lot of paper. And so the stats on how much each weighed and that kind of stuff are in that video. I will say one thing I learned from that experience was I don't quite have the relationship with plastic that a lot of people have. I did start saying, after that experience, saying that the good life comes wrapped in plastic. Right, so if you think you're going to cut down on plastic, you might as well just slit your throat right now. Sorry to be so crude. Everything comes in plastic, everything. So we can't get away from it. So, but our problem with plastic is not overuse, but the way we discard it. We have to come up with better ways to discard it, because the reason that plastic is such a problem in the environment is that it does not lose its carbon bonds. So it doesn't create methane gas. It doesn't create carbon pollution. It really is an excellent source to help prevent the kind of deterioration of the atmosphere through other things that human beings are doing. So my thing is to find ways to reuse and recycle plastic, even perhaps even using it in more ways than we've been using it for more things, stronger things in our roads and these things that aren't putting out the methane gas and the carbon emissions that so much other waste is doing. So if we could learn to keep it out of the oceans, which we're working on, since organizations are doing now, and to keep it out of the landfills and to recycle and reuse more of it, I think it could be a real game changer for the environment. But it is the bulk of our waste. And if you imagine, a platform like this sitting in your front yard every year, this was just from 2 people, and obviously this is a very anecdotal amount of trash, but on your apartment doorsteps or in your apartment or on your lawn and your neighbor's lawn and every neighbor in the country, it is very alarming. It is very alarming to see what a year's worth of trash looks like. But it is also very difficult to do anything about it because packaging is part of our life. So on that good note, thank you for your time. Well, we're a little bit late. Maybe we'll forego the closing song. We'll have you give our benediction, and then we'll sing Shalom. Thank you. I always want to say hallelujah. I don't know why. Hallelujah, it's over with.
As we depart today and see a new president inaugurated tomorrow, remember these words in our hymnal from Sarah Moore Campbell. We receive fragments of holiness, glimpses of eternity, brief moments of insight. Let us gather them up for the precious gifts that they are, and renewed by their grace, move boldly into the unknown. Amen. Blessed be. Salam alaikum and shalom.
Shalom Chavarim, Shalom Chavarim, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Chavarim, Shalom Chavarim, Shalom, Shalom.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Did you start taking lessons when you were really little?
Yeah, it was pretty much, or like I think I started when I was 5.
Chris, so wonderful to see you back.